at Sheth LUJ and Sir MV College of Arts, Science and coach in tackling electronic waste. I would like to take this opportunity to welcome our Honorable Director, ma'am, Mrs. Jyoti Gai Tonde. It's an honor and a privilege to have you, ma'am, with us today. Ma'am, would you like to speak a few words?
Principal Dr. Mahendra would speak, but I just say at this juncture, all the best, and I'm sure the webinar will be a success. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am. I would also like to welcome our principal, Dr. Mahendra Kanodia, sir. I would now request Dr. Mahendra Kanodia, sir, to enlighten us with a few words.
Thank you, Marina. Said welcome to one and all, those who are attending the session on Google Meet, and also those who are present or watching us on YouTube. An effort taken by Andheri College, and Marina is taking it as a lead for Electrowarriors, the title been given, where we're working on e-waste. So when this best practice came in our head, the first name which arrived was Mrs. Sujata Kotian. I know her, and she's very hardworking and dedicated girl. I worked with her earlier, so I can say on that note. And she will be definitely, I'm very much sure about it, that she'll be able to give you a very good insight on this, because she has worked on ground, she has worked on this, domain, and from an IT background, actually understanding the urge of this kind of management of e-waste, and she will better person, or she's the best person for us to guide on this topic. So welcome, Sujata.
Thank you so much.
And I wish everyone a luck. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Among us is also present the IQAC coordinator of our college, Ms. Manisha Sayani. We present a warm welcome to you, ma'am, and will request you to speak a few words.
Enhance the circularity for the e-products. So let us learn together what contributions the world needs from us in terms of electronic waste and its management. Sujata ma'am, I would like to request that you take over and begin with the session.
Thank you, Lena. Before I share my screen, I would like to extend my thanks to Director Madam, Mrs. Jyoti Madam, Principal Dr. Kanuja Sir, uh, IQAC Coordinator Manisha Madam. It is privilege for me to come here and deliver this session. The area, the e-waste management, I think it has been nearly now 8-9 years for which I am working on. And when I was working previously, I was working in SM Shetty College. So since 2015, I've been there and working on e-waste management. So I will try my best today what I can deliver with my knowledge to all the students, and I can try to just give some information that how we can tackle to overcome with this problem. And this is the problem which is like not being talked so much in our country now also. So we have to at least understand that what we can do from our end, that we have to understand today. So I'll share my screen, I'll start my presentation, and I request all the students, if you have any question, we can discuss to the end of the session. I'll just open the question answer session at the end of the presentation. I will be just sharing my screen, just a moment. Uh, my screen is visible.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh. Okay, so good morning, one and all. Today, like we have this Electro Warriors, a proactive approach that we are trying to find out to tackle, with the e-waste problem. We are trying to identify. We will see the solutions also, and at college level, at student level, at teachers level, that how we can actually contribute and we can make a better place to work on. Especially when every college nowadays have lot of electronic items into their premises. Even in our home, that we have lot of electronic devices, we are going gradually, and we are going to learn how we can tackle with that. So very basic thing, not going so theoretically, but I will try to just explain what is required. And first, we have to understand, what electronic waste is, or e-waste. Basically, which I can tell you, India is a country which is now still a developing country. Uh, we are the place, or a hub, we can call that, uh, for getting the electronic waste from the developed nations. So you can talk about the US, you can talk about any other developed nations. They prefer India as one of the leading developing countries where they can actually send their electronic waste, and we are the one, becoming a dumping place where they can get the e-waste and dump over here. And we are happily accepting it, because in our country, from small thing also we can earn money. So it is like something electronic waste, people find out number of opportunities from the electronic waste to earn hard earned money. So they, do the cementing of the e-waste, they just refurbish it, they reuse it, and they will sell it again back to the market. But they don't understand, if they are not handling it properly, so how it is going to affect their health. So this lack of awareness is still there in our country. Okay, so in short, what electronic waste is: the electronic items which doesn't have now more life, and it is now near to its end of life. That is something also called as end of life electronic materials. So it becomes ultimately the e-waste. So what we think is, now the materials that we are not using it more, the electronic items we are not using it more. So for us it becomes e-waste, and we just dump it randomly, into the garbage, and then we sell, or we sell it to some vendor, just to get some amount of money, not that much of amount of money also. But we don't know how it is going to be, reused, whether it is going to be reused, or whether it is going to be handled properly the way it was supposed to. Because we have many informal or illegal, companies who are running, and they are taking the electronic waste, and they are not handling it properly. Handling it properly means the people who are involved into, tackle with the electronic waste, where they sit and separate, so many of the things from the electronic waste, like some memory, some hard disk. These are things, when you are getting separated, there are many, you can say, chemical chemicals we have, there are many metallic constituents we have in the electronic waste. So when it comes to the contact of a normal human being, it can lead to the hazardous health risk. So that is where we are lacking it. We are just watching, that okay, this is the electronic waste which is going to give us some money, but ultimately where it is going, we are not understanding it. Okay, so electronic waste, or e-waste, describes discarded electrical or electronic devices. It can also be commonly known as waste electrical and electronic equipment, which can also be known as end of life electronics. But for us, we think that okay, this is now no more in use for us, but then it can be useful for the other people who can make, things out of it, and they can sell it, or they can make a refurbish of it, and they can reuse it again. So today, like, we are observing this day as International E-Waste Day. Today we have to make sure that we are going to take some oath towards our environment. So at the end, we will come to know that, what is our job as a, at a personal level, that we are going to understand today in this a very good day that is called as International E-Waste Day. So what all things can become your electronic waste? Like whatever, day to day life, which are nowadays, it's not a luxury, it is like something has become the necessity. You talk about the phones, you talk about the laptops. Like in terms of mobile phones, I think India is one of the leading countries where the mobile phones are being used so much. Like if I have today 140 crore population, we can't even imagine, except those small kids. I think everybody, even nowadays, small kids also know, 1 year, 2 year kid also know how to operate the mobile phones. So it is now a necessity. It is not a luxury thing anymore, right? So electronic items can be included like laptop, monitors, or your PDAs, personal devices, your television. Previously, the previous generation, I can say before 10, 15 years back, we used to have a habit, like, कोई इलेक्ट्रॉनिक आइटम का लाइफ जितना हम एक्सटेंड कर सकते हैं, कर पाएंगे, we will do it. Okay, उसको रिपेयर करते रहेंगे. During our parents time we used to do that, so they used to repair every electronic item till the time they are not going to be like, चलो हमने हार मान लिया, अब हम नहीं इसको रिपेयर कर सकते. Till that time, we used to repair it and we use it. Now, what is happening? We are using iPhone, another version comes, we will just switch it on it. Okay, this is what we are doing in the today's generation where we are actually lacking it. Okay, so I'm just giving a brief statistics like what we have a growing e-waste problem in India. So as per the latest September 2021 statistics, it says that India was one of the fastest, still it is one of the fastest growing producer of e-waste globally. So in 2020, India has nearly generated 3.2 million metric tons of e-waste. Here it says that as per that statistics, per person of this country has nearly generated 2.4 kg of electronic waste. That is what we are doing it right, like in current situation. So major cities like Mumbai, Delhi, Bangalore, Pune, Andhra Pradesh, Tamil Nadu, Uttar Pradesh, these are the few cities, states, they are the leading generators of electronic waste. And not to be very shocked, like Mumbai is one of the leading, is the leading city right now in all this e-waste generation. So lack of formal recycling. That's what I said. There are many informal, illegal companies or vendors are available. You cannot even rectify it. Whether they are the one who is going to refurbish or handle your e-waste properly, and we will just hand it over to them. So what is required over here? We need to check their certifications whether they are certified through the government of India or not. Okay, then only we can understand, okay, this is the place where I'm giving my electronic waste and it is safe because they are going to handle it properly and it is not going to ultimately harm the environment. See, in our country, we have a very good knowledge, how the air pollution happens, water pollution happens, all types of pollution we know, but how this electronic waste pollution is happening, we are not focusing more on that, right? So lack of formal recycling, there are small portion of e-waste considered that they are properly collected and recycled through a very formal channel, through a formal vendor, through a legal vendor. So very small portion of e-waste has been reused or collected in a very correct way. So it leads to a very environmental pollution. It is going to give the health hazards to the humans who are actually taking it informally and handling, not so legally. It is going to affect their health and life. So what government has done in this, government is taking initiatives. They are making the laws, they are making the regulations. Even they have implemented the e-waste management rules. So that people can able to understand. The problem is here, about this e-waste management rules and regulation. Now it has been made by the government of India and it has been expected by people that they should follow it. People means the companies, the MNCs, the IT industries who are actually, into more of this generation of electronic waste. Because if you'll see the MNCs, after 2 years, 3 years, or 4 years, because of their work, is growing and they want to upgrade their systems, they want to upgrade their servers, they want to upgrade their machines. So they will definitely going to change the machines and the remaining one, the one which has now left over, how it is going, where it is going, either they are giving to, the scrap people who are going to just taking and giving certain amount to the companies. So for that need to overcome with this problem, government has made certain e-waste management rule, but still sadly saying it is not being followed by many of us. So the awareness campaigns and educational initiatives are mandatory in today's time, which has to be conducted and where we can address these issues, okay, where we can tell the people, okay, this is what we have to go through under the rules and regulations made by the government of India for e-waste management. If you are not following this particular rules and regulations, what you are going to get? Okay, so that also we have to have a awareness. Just a statistic, an e-waste Taj Mahal every day we can create it. It means it was one of the statistics given like every day in 2019. That means in 2019 the amount of e-waste has been created per day. That was 1,40,000 metric tons of electronic waste was created one day. So researchers have calculated that if this e-waste was made up entirely of bricked iPhone 11, you could use those bricks to rebuild the Taj Mahal as it is. So this was the amount of electronic waste has been generated, but nowhere it is mentioned, nowhere it is written like how this much of electronic waste. And this statistic talks about only 1 day of electronic waste. So we can imagine the complete year, how much electronic waste was being created and generated, where it has gone, how it was being collected, who has handled it. We don't know. There are, yes, official recyclers are available, but how much as a human are ready to give our electronic waste, in a free of charge? That's what we are lacking also, right? If I have some cell phone, let's say, and if it is not working, am I ready that much to put that cell phone, which is now considered as electronic waste, to that eco bin or certain place, and I'm not going to take money for it? So this kind of awareness is not available. People are not that ready to give their electronic items, even though it has now become scrap. So they are not ready to give it for free of charge. They want money for their scrap materials. And e-waste, it is assumed, it was been predicted, one day by 2030, the world's annual e-waste is projected to engulf the tallest building in the Western Hemisphere, that is your World Trade Center. So you can imagine that what level of electronic waste we are going to generate. For your knowledge, the World Trade Center now has reached to 1,776 feet from its foot to the top of its pier, and it has a footprint of 40,000 square feet. So that much of amount of electronic waste we can collect, and we can make a new World Trade Center from it. That will be the level of electronic waste. So again, I said, like, Mumbai is one of the leading city currently, where we are generating the maximum electronic waste, and followed by Delhi, Bangalore, Chennai, Kolkata. These are the few cities who are also contributing for generation of the electronic waste. Here I would like to have the video. We will understand through the video. If ma'am can play that video, if you wanted, I can unshare the screen. Can I stop sharing it?
Yes, ma'am. Should I share the YouTube video?
Yeah, yeah, first one, the video one, you can play.
Yeah, I'll just share it.
ये है आपकी जिंदगी के कुछ खास हिस्से जिनके बिना आप जिंदा नहीं रह सकते। ये है आपका टीवी जिसके साथ आप हंसते हैं, रोते हैं। ये है आपका मोबाइल जिसके साथ आप जागते हैं, सोते हैं। ये है आपका चार्जर जिसके बिना आपका मोबाइल सांस नहीं ले पाता है। पर जैसे ही ये पुराने होते हैं, ये कर देते हैं आपकी पोजीशन में पंचर। तो फिर आप क्या करते हैं? रात गई बात गई, अब तू कौन मैं कौन। अब तक आपने जिससे लिया मजा, वो आज देता है दुनिया को ग्लोबल वार्मिंग की सजा। अब तक आपके घर की जो था शोभा, वो आज फैला रहा है किसी और के घर में बीमारियां। यानी कि हमारे इलेक्ट्रॉनिक उपकरण जब हमारे काम के नहीं रहते, तब वे पर्यावरण के लिए बन जाते हैं ई वेस्ट। और ये वेस्ट कोई मामूली वेस्ट नहीं है, क्योंकि इन उपकरणों में मौजूद होते हैं मर्क्यूरी, लेड, कैडमियम, क्रोमियम और प्लास्टिक्स जैसे टॉक्सिक पोल्यूटेंट्स, जो इंसान और पर्यावरण दोनों के लिए हानिकारक हैं। आज देश के असंगठित क्षेत्र में कार्यरत हैं देश के लाखों लोग। नियमानुसार ना चल रहे इस क्षेत्र में ये लोग कूड़े कचरे के प्रोसेसिंग के दौरान जहरीले केमिकल्स के संपर्क में आते हैं। और तो और इस वेस्ट में मौजूद होते हैं सोना, चांदी और तांबे जैसे कई कीमती पदार्थ भी। एक तरफ हम दुनिया के सबसे ज्यादा इलेक्ट्रॉनिक सामान इस्तेमाल करने वाला देश बन रहे हैं, तो साथ ही में दूसरी ओर हम ई वेस्ट भी उतना ही ज्यादा जनरेट कर रहे हैं।
कभी कभार इन दिनों हमारे यहाँ पहले अच्छी पेन रखना वो स्टेटस था, अच्छी घड़ी रखना स्टेटस था, अब अच्छा फोन रखना स्टेटस हो गया है। ई वेस्ट, इसके विषय में अवेयरनेस नहीं है। देखिए हमारे देश में एनवायरनमेंट की समस्याएं इसलिए आई कि जिसको जीत ठिकला का कारखाना लगा दिया, दे वर नॉट कॉन्शियस अबाउट इट। हमने ई वेस्ट के संबंध में एक विजन उठाना चाहिए, ऑनलाइन चलाना चाहिए, अवेयरनेस कैंपेन करना चाहिए, ई वेस्ट के सॉल्यूशन खोजने चाहिए। सरकार के साथ मिलकर के कोई प्रोजेक्ट बनाया जा सकता है ई वेस्ट के सॉल्यूशन, वरना हम पता नहीं कहां से कहां पहुंचे।
इसीलिए आज प्रधानमंत्री जी ने उठाया है एक बड़ा कदम स्वच्छ भारत की ओर। तो आइए अब साथ मिलकर तय करें कि हम हमारे ई वेस्ट को कहीं भी नहीं फेंकेंगे, हम करेंगे उनका केवल साइंटिफिक डिस्पोजल, ताकि हम यही वेस्ट को कर सकें रिड्यूस, रीयूज, रिसाइकल। और ये प्रोसेस के लिए भारत में कार्यरत है करीब 150 जितने ई वेस्ट ऑथराइज्ड रिसाइकलर, जिनकी जानकारी आपको प्राप्त होगी आपके नजदीकी कॉमन सर्विस सेंटर्स यानी कि CSC से। और फिर आपको करना बस ये है कि अपने ई वेस्ट को इकट्ठा कर उसे पहुंचाएं नजदीकी ई वेस्ट कलेक्शन सेंटर तक, जो कि इन्हें पहुंचाएंगे इनकी सही मंजिल तक। यहां पर ही तो वेस्ट से होगा वेल्थ का निर्माण, वो भी बिना कुदरत या इंसान को नुकसान पहुंचाए। देश की जागरूकता से होगा हजारों लोगों के लिए रोजगार का सृजन और होगा स्वच्छ और स्वस्थ भारत का भी निर्माण। स्वच्छ डिजिटल भारत, डिजिटल स्वच्छता की ओर एक बड़ा कदम।
Okay, so that was like one of the video I wanted to show you all. Like, it gives you an information how basically this electronic waste consisting of so many metallic constituents that affects the human health. Plus, it is not been handled, I said, correctly. So we have, yes, we have number of recyclers. Now that number of recyclers has increased. I will also be sharing one of the PDF file which gives a complete information where you can find easily the recycler into your nearby spaces. Okay, and you can go there, you can try to have a conversation with them to understand what is the procedure of getting the electronic waste to them, and you can even ask them whether it is have a genuine certification or not, whether they are the authorized people who are actually handling those electronic waste. So that I'll be sharing it to the end. So generation of e-waste by the year 2021-22, it was 16 lakh 1,155 tons. That what we have created. Financial year you can see here 2017-18, 18-19. 2021-22 created the maximum generation of e-waste. Just shows you the statistics which is state wise. Again we are leading. Maharashtra is with 19.8% contributing in our country, where they are generating this much of electronic waste, uh, leading by Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, Uttar Pradesh. So these are the people who are actually responsible. You can say like Maharashtra and the Mumbai. We are the one who are living here, and we are today having this international e-waste today. So I think it is a very good time for us to take this initiative, and we will understand how to overcome with this problem. In the video itself, it says that there are many components which available. See, people who are trying to get into this electronic waste management illegally and informally, because the reasons are many. As we saw in the video, you can get gold, you can get some metals which are going to be paid you a good amount of money. So the people who lives in slum or who are having a very hard time to earn money, and they are not getting jobs. So those small kids and their families get involved into this kind of process, and they try to separate those all metals from the electronic waste. And while having that process, they come into with some metallic constituents like lead, aluminum, copper, cadmium, bromium. These are something which are going to even lead to the cancer, to the end. So this is very dangerous, and it is going to be like generation to generation. So they are not growing their generation. Okay, like today one generation is doing this kind of informal work. So my next generation will don't have to do this. No, it is not happening. If father and mother is involved into this process, they are involving their kids also, and they are also doing the same thing. Probably next generation is also now trained how to do this informal thing. So nowhere it is going to be, fine. It is going to stop somewhere, and they are going to make it better. Better. This is not happening. This is going from one generation to the another generation. That is, they are taught how to earn money from this part, but they are not been taught like how they are going to be affected from this. So this is what we have a problem. So if I am going to have an electronic waste, and if I'll decide a few things, whether I can, have a land filling, if I'm going to have an open dumping, if I'm going to have an incineration, what is going to happen? Ultimately, if I'm going to have a land filling, that means I'm putting my electronic waste under the land. It is going to create a pollution, soil pollution, which is going to make a groundwater pollution. We are going to be affected because ultimately it is going to affect the food chain, because again the irrigational thing is going to be affected if groundwater gets polluted, and ultimately it is going to affect the living organism. Similarly, if I'm going to have a open dumping, like open dump spaces where you are putting all your electronic waste. Now, as an individual also, now in our societies, in our complex, still people don't believe to separate their wet waste and your the waste are not been separated, what we call gila kachra and sukha kachra. So that people still are not in an acceptance mode ki okay, we have to do this work for the environment. What I can tell about the other people at my home also, I have to convince, where I am working so much, for the environment. So it is difficult to make people understand. Where if you are going to add one more dustbin and you will say that okay, now we have to keep the electronic waste into the separate dustbin, and that we are going to collect, and we are going to give some recyclers for the better use. People will not going to follow 1 or 2 days, and then after third day people start putting everything in one single place. So if we really wanted to start the contribution towards the environment in this electronic waste management process, we start have to keep the separate place, separate bin, separate box where we can collect the electronic waste items. Not necessarily every day you have to do, in a month, in a year, whatever you can collect it, you please come and give it to your college. I think college is now collaborated with one of the recycling company, and they are starting the collection drive today itself, as what I've got the information. So you now have a better place. You don't have to go for a search of the recyclers, and then you can collect the electronic waste from your home. Even you can have a more, if you want to contribute more in your complex, in your society, you can go and you can aware people, see this is what my college is doing it. Okay, and you can see, not everybody is going to trust you, because at what basis they are going to trust you. Okay, so you have to make sure that you are going to have a good marketing skill there, and you are going to take a help of your teacher also if they want to communicate with your teachers who are responsible, who are taking this responsibility. So there, that way you can just try to have the collection, monthly collection you can do. You can take a permission also, official permission from your complex, from your societies, and then you can collect those waste, get it into the college, and let the college handle those waste, send it to the recycler. This is what the chain can be followed. Okay, now what are regulations now for this kind of purpose? We have been, government of India has implemented. It says that the consumer good companies and the makers of electronics goods, they have to ensure that at least 60% of their electronic waste should be collected and should be recycled by 2023. It was given the target, okay, with target to increase them to 70% to 80% in 2024-25. So till now, whatever consumer good companies they have, electronic companies have, they have to ensure that they have recycled or somehow they have handled the electronic waste at least 60% of it, and that is going to get increased in the year 2024. 2025 with 70% and 80% respectively. So they are being provided with the certificates if they are meeting with the targets, with the certification that they certifying the quantity of e-waste collected and the recycle. So whatever number of percentage the companies are collecting the or handling the electronic waste or recycling that electronic waste, they will be given a certificate. Now companies also have to register on an online portal and they have to specify their annual production and e-waste collection targets. This is now mandatory by the government of India. So companies which are not going to meet their annual targets, we also have to pay the fine or an environmental compensation. So this is what we have the new policies being made. So if I talk globally, so the map is going to show you the one which is which are in red color shows that they are not having any kind of laws and regulations worldwide. You can see many of the countries who are actually doing lot, but they are not focusing on electronic waste. Completely, they don't have any kind of laws and regulations. Luckily and happily, we have law, but we are not into complete 100% following the laws. But still, we are at least green in this map. We have the laws and regulation, but it should not be on paper. It should be implemented and followed by everybody. There are people also who will be marked as on blue color. So there is no policies made as such for the e-waste management, but they have certain laws and regulations related to the environment and the pollution. So in general they have made the laws but not specifically for the e-waste, but in their policy even the e-waste comes into certain part. So here the European Union legislation has also made a very strict rule in the use of hazardous substances, and they made they are promoting the collections and recycling of electronic equipments, and it is mandatory also, and they were enforced from the year February 2003. And they are also expecting from the users who are going to give their electronic waste, they should give it in free of charge. They will not be getting any amount or a money for that, so that the objective of this scheme that they will be able to reuse of such products. Now, what are the current challenges we are facing it, because the cost of recycling of this electronic waste is exceeding the revenue recovered. So it means that the amount of electronic waste the company collects from you, they even also have to have certain kind of mechanism to again reuse or refurbish it, right? So it needs again the machineries. So the amount which will be included for purchasing of those machines and installing those machines, using those machines, and those machines are not going to work automatically. Some are going to work, some are not, where the humans are required. So even the human cost, their salaries are all going to be inclusive. So this cost is exceeding comparatively what they are earning from the electronic waste. So this is one current challenge the companies who are actually doing a good deeds for the environment but still facing the problem. For these needs, the government of India is also having a policy where government of India invite people to be an entrepreneur who can start their business. Like I can give an example when I had started working with this in 2015. So very first team of mine who started working on this, I can happily say that out of those 2-3 people have started their own business of managing this electronic waste. Now they are actually taking those electronic waste. They are now become an intermediate people. They are the one who's actually refurbishing the electronic waste. They are making some kind of systems which are now going to be workable. So what they do, they collect electronic waste, and out of all the, let's say for example, if they're collecting 5 to 6 kind of machines, desktops, so they'll take out the all necessary and the materials which are working, still working, and they are going to integrate those parts, and they'll try to make one new system, and that will be the refurbished systems, and that can be usable. Okay, this is what students are doing it, and they have not done this before, and they didn't had any kind of an idea before, but still learning from the e-waste and tackling it properly, sitting in the classroom in the college premises and trying to understand that how it can be done. So this is what now they are. After 4-5 years now, they have their own business of handling it. Few students have made the YouTube channels where they are not able to start with their own business, but they are making videos also where they are teaching people how you can make your own electronic waste again reusable. So this is what also people students are doing it. So this way also we can contribute, not necessarily only just taking electronic waste, dumping it or giving it somebody, and our job is done. No, even you can take an initiative. You can even extend the life of your electronic waste by making certain changes into it. That also we can be able to do it. So lack of waste removal infrastructure, variety of health problems. These are the few more challenges that we are having it within e-waste. So what we are following right now, linear economy. Like we are taking, we are purchasing electronic waste, we are using it, and we are just disposing it. Where it is going, we don't know. What is should be done, that is circular economy. We should use it, okay, we can purchase it, we can use it, and we try to recycle it. And if required, see, many people have a tendency, sometimes what happens, being an IT student or a CS student or a data science student, when I have a machine, I always tell my students, if you have a desktop, laptop or a CPU, should always know each and everything of your machine, because ultimately you are a people who are using that electronic items day and night, because that is what you are going to end your career also, because you are going to be an IT person, you are working in the IT company, so 24/7 you are going to be with electronic items, right? So each and every part of, and it is not only the part of a boys, it is not the job of the boys, they should know, like we all know that they are very much enthused to know the electronic items, but girls are also can be able to do all these things. I always encourage, open the CPU sometimes and see what exactly there into the machine. The CPU also emits carbon dioxide. Fine. And if you are sitting in a lab, why we have a number of ACs installed into the lab or into the server room? Because ultimately your machine is generating carbon dioxide. So how it is generating it, what amount of carbon dioxide it generates, how it is contributing into that, creating the pollution. Because if I'm going to switch off the ACs for some time and my machines are on, you can see your lab is just going to be, it is just heating up. Why it is happening? Because of the carbon dioxide emissions which are coming out of those 50 machines after one point of time. So just to sit back, understand your electronic items and see, what you can give the contribution if it goes wrong. If something is not going to work in your electronic items, what you can make the changes. अगर कुछ चीजें खराब हो गई हैं and without that if it doesn't going to work, what is the solution I can find out and I can make it alive again so that it can extend its life. That is where we are lacking and we have to understand and work on it. So how you're going to manage the electronic waste? Today, like everything is online, right? So we keep our data online. Uh, we have to make sure that we are going to buy the electronics which are going to be Energy Star rated electronics. Like we have 4 star, 5 star, and that somehow contributes also. Okay, again we have to spread awareness, but now we don't have time to just talk, we just don't have time to create more and more awareness. And if we are creating awareness, we have to work on it, right? So these are this is a list what I wanted to show. The authorized recyclers. This is of Maharashtra, not India. You can easily get the list of of India also. But like we are leading, we are the one who is uh, generating the more electronic waste. So I think we should have this list. We have a list of authorized e-waste dismantlers and recyclers. You can find number of recyclers, their contact numbers, their email IDs, everything is available in this PDF. Okay, I have taken it from the NBCB, that's the official government site. So it is not something randomly taken. You can visit the PDF. You can see, into your nearby areas where these recyclers are available, and start communicating with them so that you can contribute. College is, I think, collaborated with Regreen Cycling Company. So they have an official website. They are doing so many things. They are collecting e-waste. They are handling and storing those e-waste. I think they are also providing the transportation. So what we can do here, like in a college level, okay, as a student, uh, this is the very first time I think the college is now going to take it as a best practice, and they are going to implement this e-waste management. Start with very small activities where the student involvement will be more. I always believe in student involvement.
Ma'am? Ma'am, you're not audible.
With the e-waste collection. Now, if you are telling people we have collection drives, so they will ask you like, what is it for? For what purpose we are doing this collection. So before that, give the awareness again to the students of your own college, like how it is going to create a problem, what it exactly creating a problem, why we want to tackle it, why we want to have this kind of collection of electronic waste, and that too also you will not be paid for it. So convincing all these things when they are ready to give your electronic waste, and it should not be forcible thing, that get your electronic waste from your home, otherwise will not give the marks. No, it is their responsibility, social responsibility. They should understand what is the necessity now. Let them come with their electronic waste to you and collect those waste, maintain it, have the stat logistics, that what all things we are collecting it. At one point of time, you have to even identify those students who are very good with working with electronic items. क्योंकि घर पे आप देखो काफी ऐसे स्टूडेंट्स होंगे जो बैठ के स्क्रू वगैरह खोलते रहेंगे, दे विल टेक सम screw, they will take some certain thing, and they will just work on electronic items. So identify those people and give them those electronic items that what you have collected, and they will identify how to reuse it, or they will identify what are the useful materials. They will take it out. There also now you cannot sit back and randomly taking things and dismantling. No, there also you have to identify, get the gloves also for the students, so that it is not going to affect. So ultimately, why we are doing it? Because it should not affect the human health. So it is also our responsibility that the students who are going to get involved in this part should not be getting health risk. So we will give possibly the gloves and everything. They should wear mask while handling all these things. So they are not going to work to the level of recyclers, but they are just going to check that what are materials from with their knowledge which are reusable. So they separate it. And what you can do is, after that, you try to have some kind of remodeling, or you can say reusing of those electronic waste. Make certain models. जैसे आपने कुछ ऐसा robotic car बना लिया. I have a students who made those things, completely from zero costing from the electronic waste what I have collected. A student has made a sensor based electronic car, and that was working properly. So it was being sent to the IIT Bombay also during the fest time. So people have seen that, and everybody is putting so much of money to have some kind of a robotics who are walking, running, and talking to you. There are people who are also making it from the electronic waste. So this is what makes the difference. So this is all possible things the Green Recycling Company is doing it, and hoping that they are going to contribute a lot, and they're working immensely with the help of the college, and trying to recycle all the electronic waste items. So this is what I was talking about. The contributions are been expected from the college. Like, you can have the collection drive within your premises. Start with your premises first, and try to make the students understand, okay, this is something important we have to look out, and let them also talk about this in their specific societies or complex. If they are getting success into that, where they can involve more people, and monthly or weekly they can contribute the electronic waste, it is like one step ahead we are going. We can have the awareness program through posters. That posters can be put it into the college premises, or you can, if you have adopted any nearby railway stations, you can even involve those people where you can put the posters. You can have a posters awareness. You can put those in your complexes. Then you can have certain competitions. Okay, so students, sometimes if they are not coming out for the work, what we were trying to do with the collections what we have done, so you can keep the competitions, make it an inter college competition. People will come up with a brilliant ideas. I always believe students have better and far better ideas what they can do in any terms. You talk about the research, you talk about the electronic waste management, they are best. Okay, so come out with the competitions where they can have a exhibition or a stalls where they can present their electronic items, what they have reused it, how they reused it, how they have recycled, how they have refurbished it. Let them explain, and should be a working model. Like I can give you an example for it, what kind of models you can expect it. So I used to always have competitions. So there you can call it as best out of waste, okay, best out of e-waste also you can say. So one basic problem, the laptop. When we are going to keep this laptop directly on our lap, what is going to happen after 5 minutes? It start getting heat, right? So we are going to feel that heat. What is going to come from the laptop? Okay. So what generally we do? We take a pillow and we just keep on it, right? And we start using it. But we didn't understood that is there any kind of specific solution we are going to get for it. So one of a student, what he has done is he made some from the thermocol some kind of a platform, and that platform has a border, but in the section where the laptop is going to be kept, it was not a closed part, okay, it was an open from the down. So he has attached one kind of a fan down, and then that fan was on. So when you are using the laptop, basically that fan is also getting on, because the fan is going to get on with the help of the USB that you're going to connect to your laptop. So the moment you switch on your laptop, your fan is also going to get on, and that fan is keeping your laptop cool from the downside. This is what they have done, and that fan is not something they have purchased. Then again, they have prepared it from the electronic waste. Okay, so this is one kind of a small solutions they have given it. Fine. Collaborate with refurbishers or recyclers, and the college has already done it. You can collect the electronic waste and you can send it monthly to the recyclers. This is the second video. If it is possible, please. I'll just stop sharing it.
Yes, yes, ma'am.
Ma'am, I think it is not audible. Ma'am, it is I think still not audible.
It's not audible, ma'am.
No, no, it is not.
Ma'am, it's a subtitled video, so it's fine if you don't get a voice, right?
I think voice would have been better.
Yeah, yeah, I'll just try.
Can I
Just give me a minute.
extend mine? It's audible, ma'am. Thank you.
नाम है आमिर, उम्र है 11। घर में मना करते हैं तो मैं जब भी करता हूँ काम तो घर पे आके पैसे देता हूँ। इससे महंगा है ये बहुत, 120 रुपए का ये है बस इतना सा, और ये है 100 रुपए किलो। आज 3 दिन में कमाए मैंने 1000 रुपए।
मुझे पता है पढ़ाई ज़्यादा इम्पोर्टेंट, लेकिन घर वालों के कुछ ऐसे मतलब हालात ऐसे हो गए थे तो हमने काम करना चालू कर दिया।
बस मैं ही काम कर रहा हूँ, एक और भाई वो काम कर रहा है, 2 जने कर रहे हैं, बाकी पढ़ रहे हैं। इंशाल्लाह वो पढ़ेंगे। इस काम पे बहुत है, इसकी तो गिनती भी नहीं हो पाएगी। हर कोई जुड़ा हुआ है, पूरा हिंदुस्तान से, बंगाल से, बिहार से, बम्बई से, हर जगह से माल आता है।
So I think now we understood through the video this Salampur is one of the place who is considered as the maximum of e-waste, or you can say the one of the leading place where the electronic waste coming from different places and going there. Every kid of that place, every person you can say is involved into the electronic waste, and they are not handling it as we have seen it properly. And it is very obvious, when certain so young age, if you are able to get lot of money, like the boy in the video says, he is earning 1000 rupees per day. Now in Mumbai also it is very difficult for a normal human who is traveling from Kalyan to CST earning this much of amount in a day. It is very difficult for the person. An educated person is still, if I am going to study MSc and I am going to get a job, even I am not going to get 1000 rupees per day. So their mentality, their thinking is that when I am getting this much of amount in a very young age without education, so why I should get involved, into the process which are legal, and I should study. So this is the problem, where it starts. So we need to understand that we should, and why this is happening, because we as a, become, we are not a responsible people who are trying not to give those electronic waste to certain recyclers or certain dismantlers. We are just putting it randomly into the dustbins where all our different things are going. And obviously when it is being dumped in the open space, because people doesn't have time, BMC is not going to sit back and separate your waste. They are simply going to put everything into the dumping yard and then dumping spaces, and there people just go collect those electronic waste from it, and then they start this process. Okay, so this is our now responsibility not to uh, have this kind of electronic waste directly putting into some place where we cannot do anything afterwards. Uh, so this is what I had today to talk. And if any questions you have, you can freely ask me. I will definitely try to answer your question. Yes, students. Now, platform is open for you all. Any questions? Like if I can just unshare this, and if I'm, you can put it in the chat also if you're not comfortable to unmute and talk. So you can put it in the chat also. We can take the questions from there.
Anybody having any query, please you can ask your questions. Either you can switch on your mic and ask the question, or you can leave your questions in the chat box.
Good day, ma'am. My question to you was, like when we recycle e-waste, like what happens afterwards? How is it recycled? What happens? How is it segregated? What happens in the
Uh,
further process?
okay, so like you are asking, like if you have certain electronic waste, so if you're giving to a proper recycler, so what happens? You're asking that.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So basically, see, when it goes to the recyclers, okay, they have the machinery. What you do with your bare hands, the segregation part, which is not been preferable, fine, for a normal human being because it is not safe, it is hazardous, it is not so correct way of segregating and dismantling things. So they have machineries, and there, like I said, if you are even doing it in a college level where you are trying to get the electronic waste and you are trying to get some items from it too so that you can prepare some kind of models, that time also you should be very much careful to wear gloves and all those things. So when it goes to the proper recyclers, they have the machineries where it will be taken help of that, and when the segregation of the materials are being done. So not humanly it is been done. Human comes into the picture when the health risk and the hazardous materials are not coming directly into the contact with the humans. So there the humans come. Okay, but till the time all the machineries are actually going to do the segregation things, and then they identify basically which part of the electronic waste what you have given is still have life and can be used in the refurbished electronic items, and they will segregate and they will separate it, and which are not being useful, they will again going to make it dismantle. I mean, they will be cut it into so small pieces. Let's say for example, if I have copper in my electronic waste, so they are going to collect all the coppers from all the possible electronic items what they are going to get, and collectively when they are going to have this kind of amount of copper, and they can be reused it somewhere again. If they have some amount of gold which has been coming from dismantling of many of the electronic items, they will collect it. So this is what the process is. They will collect coppers, the materials which can be reusable, so they collect it again.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Any else? Anyone else?
Hello, ma'am.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, the slide which you had showed, the estimation of percentage tons in tons. I think you had showed
Correct,
the.
correct.
Okay, no, can you show that slide once again? Go back to that slide. Total tons of each waste generation.
Okay.
Financial year wise, you had
Yes,
listed.
yes, yes. I'll share my screen. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, ma'am. So it is observed that during the COVID year, it is more increased e-waste.
Yeah, because we were involved more electronically that time. It was been demanded. Uh, I think many people didn't had an idea like somewhere we are going to completely at home and working from home. many of the people purchased, for the first time the machines to their home because they wanted to work from home, because they were till that time going to the offices and they are working to their spaces, they are using the resources of the companies where they're working it. They didn't have their own resources, many of the people, so they have purchased it. So and also when you have rigorously used, and it is a human tendency, I'll tell you what, when I am going to have a laptop at home and I am not having a laptop at home, what it is going to make a difference. So if I'm going to the office offline, let's say, and I don't have any resource to work at home, okay, I'm just going office, I'm working there and keeping that machine to that space and coming back to the home, I'm not going to use that machine again now anywhere. So the life of that machine also is going to be affected with that. And when that same machine is there with me 24/7, out of the curiosity, even my work is done, I am going to sit back with the machine. And I am going to, I'm going to make the life lesser of that machine. Because the more you are using it, the more content you are going to put it into your machine, the more it is going to use, it is going to have a less life, basically. So that way also it has contributed. During the lockdown time, I totally agree, that the number has increased. That is the only reason where the people were not using the machines so much before the lockdown, as they were forced to use the machines during the lockdown time. And it has led to the generation also. Because as I said in the very earlier time, 10-15 years back, it was nowhere had a mindset कि चलो we had an electronic waste, तो अभी थोड़ा बहुत खराब हो गया तो हम इसको रिप्लेस कर देते हैं. ये फ्रिज का स्ट्रक्चर मुझे अभी ये छोटा हो गया फ्रिज घर पे, ये पसंद नहीं आ रहा है, so I'll have a double door fridge. Now it is becoming the part of our luxury. So we wanted to keep things up to date. That is what we are now going. So that's why the generation of e-waste has done more.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. May I know from what source you have taken this data?
I can share it. I'll just put it in the PPT, ma'am. I can share this with you.
Okay, okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Any more questions? So can we move forward? A very good afternoon to everyone present here. This is Asia Qureshi, and I am here to express a vote of thanks. At the outset, a heartfelt thank you to our esteemed guest speaker, Mrs. Sujata Rahul Kotian. Indeed, it was a very enriching and a much needed learning experience. We extend our sincere thanks and appreciation for your valuable time and insights. Also thanking our director, ma'am, Mrs. Jyoti Gaitonde, and our in-charge principal, Dr. Mahendra Kanogia, sir, and also our IQAC coordinator, Mrs. Manisha Sayani, ma'am, who graced this event in spite of their busy schedules. I would also like to thank all the teachers and the organizing committee who made this insightful webinar possible. And lastly, all the students who have participated with full interest and enthusiasm. A huge thanks to all of you. It was great pleasure. I also take this opportunity to inform you that our MVLU College is conducted an e-waste drive in collaboration with Regreen Recycling Private Limited starting from today, and it will continue for another month. We request you all to participate in the drive and help us with this initiative to recycle e-waste. We have with us Mr. Sameer Khan from Regreen Recycling. I would request you to please switch on your camera and speak a few words.
Hi, ma'am. Good morning. I am from Regreen. As the owner
Hello.
of Regreen.
Hello, Sameer.
Yes, ma'am. You have given a great speech. I have understand better, and I will be learning from you better, and I will be implementing on my companies also.
I
Thank
have
you,
I
ma'am.
have visited your website actually before joining this session,
Yes,
and I
ma'am.
must say that you are doing a great job, because see, this is a very untouched area till now. Okay, very sadly I can say that. But if you, as a so young people, if you are working, then I'm very happy because I've seen the owner, I've seen the founder, and I've seen there. So I'm very happy because I can see my students in you because they're also working. So I'm not saying that if I have a strength of 5,000 students in a college, so everybody is going for the same profession. No, but then
Yes.
one or two people like you, if they can work, it is very helpful for their life.
I also get interested because day by day the global warming and more collection of e-waste. So I also get a chance that I will be working with my brother and will be making a better world.
Good, good. No, it is good. I have seen your website. It is
Yes, ma'am.
very quite good. You have done a lot in that.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Sameer. Thank you, ma'am. Lastly, before leaving this session, I request you all to kindly give your valuable feedback by clicking on the link given in the chat box to avail yourself of your certificate. Have a great day ahead. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay. Um, Marina, ma'am, can I take a leave? Mahendra sir is there.